Hi, YouTube family. We are together again on such a sad occasion as the death of George Floyd. And I would like to take this opportunity to express to the family my condolences, trusting that God would overshadow them and give them the confident strength that they need in this hour. For them to know that we are standing together and that we will always remember, and we will always use this and take this as an opportunity to continue to move forward. There are many things that I would like to share with you, some things that remains from my last video to you where I posed the question, who is raising America's children? In the midst of all the social chaos that's going on in America today, the awesome task is still before you as parents to raise your children in the midst of several crises at one time. And this is not a task that you can do alone. This is a task that's for all of us, in which I expressed that to you in my last video, that I'm here to support. And again, I'm trying out technology that I don't know that much about, but because the cause is so great and you are worth it to me, to help to see you through and to get through the social chaos that many of you did not create it, and I'm not here to cast blame, but I'm here to help. Where do we go from here as parents? One of the things that we need to look at that I would bring to your attention now is the outsourcing of child care, as I mentioned to you. We have now is 5 decades of children who have never been parented by their biological parents. And as I shared with you, that the outsourcing of child care, that has to change as well. While we're in the midst of changing a whole lot of ills that are wrong in America's culture today, child care is a major one as well. Child care, children are our future. And we must invest the time and the energies as well as we continue to recreate a culture that is sustainable for life, for enduring generations upon generations upon generations. As I mentioned, outsource is something that took place during the 1960s as women were emerging for their rights, in which we would do our rights, to move into the workforce. In so doing, there was no one left to raise our children. So therefore, the emergence of child care became a great need, for families in order to, as we know, as we went along, our values did shift and change. Many women found that when they was in the workforce, the enjoyment and fulfillment of their God-given purpose. However, God did not intend for us to lay aside our first responsibility, and that responsibility was to the care and upbringing of our children. When I heard and learned and saw the video where George Floyd cried for his mother, the pain of that struck the pit of my stomach that I can't describe. That's a pain that we particular as African American women understand. But when a child cries out for his mother when they're in crisis, and his mother was not there, it raised that flag within me that we have mothers today that their children are crying, and we are not there. We're not there. And that's what I mean when I say the outsourcing of child care, that we have given that responsibility to workers. When workers, I didn't give you the end of the story of my experience in working with parents for over 30-some years, that many of the young parents that came into my office was not aware that they were parents until they and I was having that conversation. The conclusive end on that, as I mentioned to them, was that child care does not raise children. That's not what education do. That's not the goal of education, to parent children. And for many, this was news because this was their upbringing. This was what was handed to them. They got up every morning along with their parents. Their parents got them dressed, took them to daycare, and went out the door. They were modeling what had been happening to them and what was their experience. We have to change that for children today. We have to change that. We have to change that. As I mentioned to you, I am here to support in any way that I can. And I want us for right now to take a deep breath. We've only just begun. There is a bright future. There is hope. And together, I like some of the mantras that's out here now. Together we can move forward. We move forward together, and that's a great thing. Now, since I'm passionate about parenting, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what parenting is, my definition of parenting. I looked at what's in the books and what's on the books as it relates to parenting, and no one single individual seems to have the monopoly on what a parent is and what a parent does. So that qualifies me to give you my definition that I think that would help us as we move forward. As I have written, parenting is more than just providing food, clothing, and shelter for your children. Parenting is the transmission of thoughts, attitudes, ideologies, concepts, values, beliefs, traditions, and social norms by parents on to their offspring. We give them all of that. We give them our attitude. So we're in a posture now where what? We need to adjust some attitudes. And due to COVID, we've seen some things in our attitudes that has fallen short. Through the race riots that's in the street, we've also become aware of our behavior and the need for change. As we're asking for this nation to change, we must also change with it. And how we raise children is crucial. It's crucial what we are saying to them in this hour. It's crucial that we frame the right narrative. I've heard many of you cry, what am I going to say to my child? How can I respond to this? Right now, it calls for you and me both to come with who we really are. And to come to grips with who we really are. And not how we have pretended to be, not our shortcomings, but we get to start this thing again. And I would like to share with you as parents, as you take this journey, and as we take this journey together, you're going to run across like never before some of the flaws and shortcomings that you have and the pains that you did not receive as a child growing up. One of the things that parenting children does for you, it helps to take the focus off of you onto your child. You cannot transfer to them what you did not get or what did not happen. We're not in a posture now where we can continue to nurture what had happened was. The script has flipped, and we have to continue flipping it. And what I would like for you to do with those past wounds and hurts, because we have many. And one of the things that I've learned to do, even in parenting adult children, and yes, I say parenting adult children, because we're dealing with a generation who extended parenthood. We couldn't release no matter how we tried because children kept holding on, did not want to face the responsibilities that was required to be an adult. And I've had a long time to think about this and to look at it. As I was saying, what needs to happen now? As parents, what you do with those flaws, what you do with those hurts, what you do with those mistakes. Give yourself what you've been given to other people. Give yourself some mercy. We've all made mistakes. We've all fallen short. Give yourself some kindness. Give yourself some forgiveness. Tell yourself, I forgive me for the mistakes that I made, because that's one of the things that America developed as a culture, that a parent was to be everything to a child, and that's not humanly possible. And we've tried to live up to standards and ideals that's beyond our capacity as human beings to fulfill. Only the Lord can do that. We cannot be everything that a person needs, not when we are flawed ourselves. So as we move forward, let's leave that behind. And as we continue on, as I said, this journey, remember to give yourself some kindness, some love, some gentleness, some compassion, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. And there is help, for you. There is help for you. A couple of things that I would leave with you before I close this video. What do we do? Rather, what do you do as parents, young parents going forward? The parent-child relationship is crucial now. It's crucial. Make the most of your time of being sheltering in to build and strengthen the bond in parent-child relationships. That's one of the things that outsourcing childcare did. As mothers would go to work while your children were infants, the bond that normally would take place naturally between a parent and their child was aborted in many instances, which is why we have generations of children whose parents are just like a stranger to them, and that what gives them the fortitude and the capacity that they can see you as any other individual, when a parent should have the last word next to God in a child's life. Because you are their guardians. You are their protectors. You are the ones to show them love. As George Floyd left to all of us as mother, he cried for his mother. And it did not matter to that young man that mother was already gone. You are still here. And you can answer the cry. Your children are crying now. I'm only speaking in their behalf. They're crying now for your attention, for your understanding, for your time, for your love. They don't care about why you wasn't here. They care about that you're there now and that you can listen to them. That's my prayer for you, and that's my prayer for you today. Strengthen and build that bond that was aborted. Go back. It's never too late. Go back. Bond with your child. The second foundation that I would like to leave with you is trust. Build trust between you and your child. That's where we start. That's where we start as parents. When we are in the process of birthing a new generation of people, a new generation of children who have all of the necessary ingredients that goes into being a human being. And you have the opportunity to do that now. Trust. Your children need to be able to trust you. And if many of you have broken trust with your children, that's a place of healing. Not guilt, not blame, but to accept the responsibility and to move forward. The third thing that I would like to leave with you is to stay in proximity. Brian Stevenson has cried that aloud to all of us, and particular, those of us who are in leadership, to get in proximity. Stay close to your children. The pandemic just wasn't meant for you to be close to them during the pandemic, and when that's over with, then it's business as usual, as I mentioned. That's not what we're going to do. We are not going to leave this pandemic, nor the racial confusion and conflict and chaos that's in the land now. A lot of things, as we knew, was going on in America long before these things existed, and it just brought it to the surface. Which brings you to another point in that. If you have not taken a position in societal issues as a family, now is the time to do it. What is your position on drugs, human trafficking, terrorism, failing schools? What is your position? Unruly children, that's an issue. That's an issue that we can solve. Children not being parented by their biological parent, we can fix that one. And let's begin with those things that we can change. And let's begin today. Thank you again from Blanche Clay.